Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we live in nearly every offseason. You hear the Knicks linked to a few big names, acquiring them via trade, signing free agency. Rarely occurs, of course, the last offseason. The rumors were hot and heavy with Donovan Mitchell coming to the Knicks. Instead, he was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Can't necessarily say it turned out bad for the Knicks as they played the Cavs in the opening round and defeated them. But of course, there's been more rumors so far this offseason. Really haven't done much other than sign Dante DiVincenzo in free agency. One of the guys who has been linked to him on occasion is Minnesota Timberwolves big man Karl-Anthony Towns. Well, this is via Bleacher Report, Aaron Walsh. Knicks trade rumors, Karl-Anthony Towns, Timberwolves contract seen as too onerous. We'll get into the contract in a little bit. It's pretty extravagant. But Karl-Anthony Towns has been linked to New York Knicks in trade rumors over the last several months. But the franchise might not want to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves star's hefty contract. What I had heard was that the salary, some people felt that the salary was just too onerous, at least at this point. SNY's Ian Begley said during an appearance on the Low Post podcast with ESPN Zach Lowe. They felt that the salary was going to really hurt them later in his deal. But listen, I think obviously this dynamic could change at the drop of a dime. I do think, though, that if they love the idea of Towns right now, they could have had him. That's just my kind of reach on the landscape in general. Yes, the Knicks have done a good job acquiring a bunch of draft picks. They have some young talent that they could probably package to get a star player, but it has to be the right one. Because if we look at Karl-Anthony Towns' contract, we see that for the upcoming season, he's got $36 million. Which for his play isn't bad, but his supermax extension starts the following season, approximately 4 years, $234.5 million. Estimated to make $52.36 million 2024-25, $56.5 million in 25-26, $60.7 million in 2026-27, and he's a player option in 2027-28 season for almost $65 million. To be honest, I don't see Karl-Anthony Towns really being a top 20 player in the league, so that's just way too much. Kind of like a Bradley Beal. There might have been some rumors with the Knicks with him. Of course, he went for cheap to the Suns, but not necessarily for cheap because A, he had a no trade clause in his contract, and B, his contract was extraordinary. Just if you're wondering what kind of trade the Knicks might have to do, this via NBA analysis.net. So it mentions that Andrew Lopez of ESPN is proposing that the Knicks trade Julius Randle, Isaiah Roby, Jericho Sims, and 3 future draft picks to the Timberwolves for Towns, who can be traded starting on July 7th. I'm going to guess those 3 future draft picks are first rounders. And it goes on to mention it costs the Timberwolves a 3-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA player in Towns. Well, say what you want about Randall, but he's a 2-time All-Star and 2-time All-NBA player with the Knicks, so that not much of a difference there. I think Towns might be a little bit better than Randall, probably more of a accurate 3-point shooter. Julius was chucking him up this past season and definitely had his moments. But Julius Randle's also way more reliable to stay on the court. The best ability is availability. And Karl-Anthony Towns started off his career with it. See each of his first 3 seasons playing all 82 games. That just hasn't been the case of late. 2018-19, 77, but you see 35. I believe that was a 64 game season for him. 50 in a 66 game season. 72 game season. Then 74 and 21-22. But last season, a calf injury kept him out a substantial amount of time. 29 games. What are your thoughts? Do you think Karl-Anthony Towns' contract is too crazy for a team like the Knicks to pick up? I'm a Knicks fan. I don't really want to see him do it. But let me know in the comments if you'd like to see the Knicks go after Karl-Anthony Towns. Anywho, don't forget to subscribe, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications.